Greetings, friends. As most of you already know, the DJI Osmo Pocket is stabilized with a very solid 3-axis electromechanical gimbal. However, unless you walk like an Egyptian ninja in the extreme, from time to time, especially when moving quickly, you're going to get a noticeable amount of up and down movement in your videos. A clever and reasonably priced accessory that reduces this movement is the subject of this episode of Picks to Flicks, the ScottyMakesStuff 4th Axis Stabilizer. Are you ready to get your real geek on? The ScottyMakesStuff 4th Axis Stabilizer is a system of an adjustable spring and parallel bars that, once calibrated, automatically reduces the movement in the vertical, also known as the 4th or Z-axis. Historically, filmmakers have employed a rather silly walk, known alternately as the gimbal walk or the ninja walk, to minimize vertical movement when shooting. If you're not familiar with this method of perambulating, check out the video linked to above and in the description below from our friends at DJI. If you're self-conscious about people watching you during your filming sessions in public now, just imagine the kind of weird looks you'd get if you were practicing this silly walk while shooting. There are 2 models of the ScottyMakesStuff 4th Axis Stabilizer currently available. The one I purchased has an extension handle and looks to be slightly more flexible in its uses compared to the second model, which incorporates the convenience of a folding case for your Osmo Pocket. These products are 3D printed, and the fit and finish shows this, but Scotty is obviously taking care to smooth the corners and the edges, and overall it's a well-made device. The handle model I obtained includes a couple 1/4-20 threaded holes, one near the base of the stabilizer and one on the end of the handle. The hole on the end of the handle is convenient for attaching an extension stick if you want to get your Osmo Pocket farther away from you to give a wider shot, or maybe get an elevated position for your camera by using an extension pole. But attaching something to this point covers the wrench, so you'll need to remove the tool before attaching the handle to anything. Otherwise, you won't be able to make any mid-shoot adjustments. I'm not going to get into the setup and adjustment for the stabilizer because Scotty has a number of excellent videos on his website that I'll link to in the description. These walk you through the process, and it's actually not that difficult, having only taken me 15 minutes or so to get a workable solution. What you do is essentially insert your Osmo Pocket into the stabilizer's cradle, then commence adjusting 2 Allen bolts, one for the weight of your payload, and one to smooth out vertical oscillations known as bounce damping, using the wrench stored in the handle. You check your results, lather, rinse, and repeat until you're happy with the footage. Be sure to check your video clips on a screen larger than your Osmo Pocket, and I suggest you run them at 2x speed to amplify the effects of bouncing and shaking. I'd also select a location for shooting with vertical and horizontal reference points close to you, like walls, railings, fences, to provide visual cues as to how much vertical movement you're getting. One thing I would also suggest is you mount your Osmo Pocket to a tripod to do the initial calibration and adjustment, like Scotty does in his videos. It's way easier and more accurate than hand-holding it during this process. A note of warning, however, be sure to adjust the correct Allen bolts. Here's a photo showing you which ones to use to calibrate for the weight of the Osmo Pocket and anything mounted to the pocket, and then the one to adjust bounce damping. To avoid adjusting the wrong bolts, read the included instructions and watch the video at least twice. If you make the mistake I did and adjust the wrong bolt, it's a challenge to get it back to the starting position, and this is critical for proper operation. I reached out to Scotty and he was very helpful in vectoring me back on course after my pilot error. The stabilizer's cradle holds your Osmo Pocket very, very tightly. The first time I inserted my Osmo Pocket into the stabilizer, I pushed it all the way down and had a heck of a time getting it out again. I mean, I love secure mounts, and I almost destroyed my first Osmo Pocket when it fell out of a different mount, but this is a little too secure. Hopefully this will loosen up just a bit with time. There is a hole on the bottom of the cradle to provide access to the USB-C port on the Pocket, but anything you plug in there, like an external microphone, is best attached to the Osmo Pocket, and not connected via a cable. I have also used this port to attach the wireless module. You need to play a little fun with extensions game, and I used a couple of right angle extensions, properly oriented to make it work, not unlike what I've shown in another one of my videos, to get the USB port out of the stabilizer's cradle and to make room for the wireless module. When you're using the wireless module, the 1/4 hole on the handle is a great place to mount your smartphone to monitor and control the entire system, as you can see here. I've heard that Scotty is working on a version to more elegantly incorporate the wireless module, so check back with his website or contact him directly to inquire about this. Here's another more complicated mounting solution. Notice how I minimize the things attached to the Osmo Pocket and put as much weight on the part of the rig that's not supported by the stabilizer springs and arms. Speaking of supporting weight with the spring and arms, ring the bell, school's in session. When discussing dampeners like this stabilizer, there are two items it helps to understand: sprung weight and unsprung weight. In general, you want to minimize sprung weight, which is the weight supported by the spring, to provide a more stable experience and to control vertical oscillation. This is a reason why auto racing wheel engineers go to such lengths to shave off fractions of an ounce from their rims, and tire designers reduce the weight of their racing tires to an absolute minimum in efforts to keep the sprung weight as low as possible. I haven't pushed the ScottyMakesStuff stabilizer to the limit of its spring weight load capacity, but there's only so much a small spring and some support arms can wrestle under control. The handle is adjustable over approximately 270 degrees of rotation. You can hold the stabilizer in a pistol grip, that's my favorite, like a flashlight, or in a reverse pistol grip, or anything in between. So how does the ScottyMakesStuff 4th axis stabilizer work? In a word, outstanding. I took 3 setups out to a local park building with stairs, walls, and railings, a perfect place to check out the performance. One setup was my iPhone XS Max, one was a regular Osmo Pocket, and one was an Osmo Pocket mounted in the stabilizer. Here are the 3 videos playing simultaneously at normal speed. you can easily see the tremendous improvement you get between the iPhone and the standard 3-axis Osmo Pocket. Comparing the regular Osmo Pocket to the one mounted in the stabilizer is a little more subtle, but it's undeniable the footage shows far less vertical oscillation. I'm still dialing in my settings. I suggest you keep your adjustment wrench handy. The more you use the ScottyMakesStuff stabilizer, the more you'll learn and the better your results will end up being. I'm still a novice, but I am improving. In this comparison video, I struggled a little bit with side-to-side movement. I think primarily because I wasn't able to get natural arm movement due to the fact that I was carrying 3 cameras. This made me a little unstable and caused too much lateral swaying and rolling. I also set it up more for jogging than walking in this video. In other words, I was more aggressive in my settings for bounce damping. Something to be aware of when you're using the stabilizer is it looks like it's going gonzo, bouncing all over the place. In fact, most people travel up and down 3 to 4 inches or 7 to 10 centimeters when they walk and run, some even more. In our heads, as viewed through our eyes and processed by our brain, we adjust for this and we don't notice the movement so much. When we're watching a separate device like the stabilizer bouncing up and down, the vertical oscillation looks a lot more obvious. Oh, and by the way, your Osmo Pocket's internal microphone may pick up the sound of the stabilizer springs in your audio track, especially as it expands and contracts. In my video, I selected the audio from the iPhone as the spring sound was not quite as apparent. So, where will I use the ScottyMakesStuff stabilizer? It's not required for every shooting situation, but for shooting indoors, or anytime a lot of vertical motion is expected, this little device can raise your Osmo Pocket's performance to a whole new level of smoothness and professionalisms. Also, the new hyperlapse feature in the latest firmware for the Osmo Pocket, version 01.07.00.20, released earlier this week, is almost a killer app for something like the ScottyMakesStuff 4th-axis stabilizer. When video is sped up, whether in post or in camera, like with this new feature, vertical oscillation is amplified and much more noticeable. This gizmo smooths things out very nicely. Check out my video on the Osmo Pocket's new hyperlapse feature using this stabilizer linked to above and in the description below. In summary, I strongly recommend the ScottyMakesStuff 4th-axis stabilizer. It may take a while to get here all the way from the land down under, but it's well worth the wait. That's it for this episode of Picks to Flicks. If you like this video, smash the thumbs up icon below. And if you'd like to be informed when I release new videos, please click the subscribe button over there or down below. I'm Dennis, thanks for watching, and this has been Picks to Flicks.